Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
Welcome back to podcast 96 of 2025. I'm your host, Kiev O'Neill. You can find me on Twitter at OBKiev. Follow us at the Odds Breakers. Follow us on social media / the Odds Breakers. This episode is being brought to you by FanDuel Sports, a proud partner with the NFL. If you'd like to support the Odds Breakers and benefit from our premium plays, please visit theoddsbreakers.com, click shop, become a member, pick any for winning cappers, get the premium plays before the line moves. You can also support us on patreon.com. If nothing else, please visit the Odds Breakers and become a free picks and telegram subscriber. Got a little hiccups right now. We have a great show for you today. College football, my friends. Lots going on this weekend. It's not like the biggest weekend of matchups. The SEC, this is kind of the week they like to mostly take off and play a bunch of tomato cans. Obviously, Tennessee had their tomato can last week and still didn't cover. But, this week, still some good matchups and still some good betting spots. And that's why we have a betting master in Sean Higgs from Winning Free Picks and Midday Money to break down this awesome week of college football. Before Sean comes on, the committee, we're getting closer and closer to playoff rankings, right? Only 2 regular season weeks left. And then obviously the conference championships, that's going to really set the final tone. But I'm just so confused on how they do things. I guess I'm not confused. I know that they're incompetent, so it's not confusing to know somebody's an idiot. But they change the rules, as they go along, which is very strange. They really like Notre Dame, as we know, and they don't like Miami, as we know, because they reward losses this year, it seems. It seems like since Miami had the uglier losses, even though they beat Notre Dame head-to-head, Notre Dame's off losses was Miami and number 3 Texas A&M, who probably should have lost last week if it wasn't for the craziness choke of South Carolina. But if that's the case and you're favoring losses, Utah had a couple pretty good losses, right? BYU had a good loss. They're all ahead of Miami. Then why do you have Tulane at number 24 over James Madison? Okay. Why do you have Tulane there? So you're telling me if Tulane wins the American at 8-2, they get in over a 1-loss James Madison team? James Madison lost to Louisville by 2 touchdowns, and that box score was a hell of a lot closer than the final result of that game actually was. And then you have Tulane, who when they stepped up to Ole Miss, got beat to shit by 35 points. And then Tulane lost to a pretty bad UTSA team. They didn't just lose to UTSA. They lost by 22 points to UTSA. And you're telling me that 1-loss James Madison, who doesn't even have a conference loss, is not ahead of this team? When this is the way you're ranking them this year to favor Notre Dame, you decide to say, okay, let's just do losses instead of big wins, Because Miami beat Notre Dame. Miami destroyed South Florida. Miami also whipped Florida 26-7. And then now you're rewarding Tulane for beating Duke? Freaking Duke? That lost to UConn?
Unreal.
Why do you have to look so stupid, committee? That's what I want. Why do you have to look completely incompetent here? You keep changing your tune. You make no sense. Most of you don't know that much about football. I don't care if you're X whatever. You don't. You clearly don't. And these are the rankings you come up with. This is BS. Sorry, Miami should be ahead of Notre Dame right now. Not saying Notre Dame can't make it in, but Miami should be in. You know who should be out? Still, a couple SEC teams, like maybe Oklahoma. Okay? Got beat in the box score against Alabama. Lost to Texas pretty bad. They shouldn't be that high in the rankings. Seeing BYU ahead of Utah is a bit of a head scratcher to me too. BYU beat Utah, but that was a complete BS call, and I was on BYU that game. That targeting call. It always happens on third or fourth down when the team just needs somebody to bail them out. Just punishing the other team. I agree with a lot of stuff though, where Vanderbilt is kind of at. I think Vanderbilt could sneak in, but having like 4 SEC teams while Utah sits out is a little bit weird to me too, because if Utah beats Texas Tech or BYU beats Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game, Texas Tech definitely deserves to be in over a lot of these SEC teams. And I would have Texas Tech favored almost maybe everybody, maybe not Georgia, but I would have Texas Tech favored over at least most of these teams. That's all I have to say about the committee. Obviously, it's going to change after some games this weekend, or it could change. I mean, there, like I said, not a ton of huge matchups this weekend. We do get Oregon and USC, so we'll see if Oregon drops a bomb here. But as far as the rankings, you're not going to see any major shakeups until after week 14. The only other, I guess, chance you have is Missouri beating Oklahoma. There's some whispers that Pribula could play. I don't believe it. But really, that's about it. I guess BYU could lose to Cincinnati. BYU is a road favorite here. Cincinnati is just... There's a lot of offense on this Cincinnati team. Not a ton of defense, but when they're clicking on offense, they can come back against anyone. So that's going to be a pretty interesting game to talk about. Let's get into college football ATS. At the top of the leaderboard, Texas Tech at 10-1, baby. Ohio State 8-1-1. Finally not covering. Utah 8-2. And the cover wasn't against, I believe, Purdue with Ohio State. They did cover last week against UCLA. The next one, well, you have a few of them. 8-2s, North Texas, Utah State. Funny, the state of Utah has been covering machines this year. San Diego State and Western Kentucky. Maybe they should throw Utah in just based on the fact that they're covering spreads. Good teams win, great teams cover, baby. And then you have some 7-2-1, Vanderbilt, Hawaii 7-2-0, Iowa 7-2-1. Let's go down to the bottom of the pack. Georgia State still hanging out at 1-9. Then a bunch of 2-8s. Virginia Tech, who just hired James Franklin. Congratulations. I thought that's a perfect fit. UL Monroe and Baylor. Oh, was I wrong about Baylor preseason? I think a lot of us were, and that's why they're such bad team against the spread. Minnesota 2-7-1. They should have covered last week. Texas 2-7-1. Charlotte 2-6-2. Totals. Start with the big overs, and you're still hanging out with Texas A&M at 8-2, Navy 8-2. Then you have UMass 8-3. There is a ton of 7-3s. I'm not going to go through them. There's like 15 to 20 of them. But the top 3 are really your overs teams. UMass just can't stop a high school football team. So that's why they're such an overs team. Unders teams, Missouri State 2-8, Oklahoma 2-8, Wyoming 2-8, Wisconsin 2-8, Arkansas State 2-8. Then you have a couple 2-7s in North Carolina 2-7-1, and Army 2-7. Purdue, I guess, 3-8. So there you have it. Those are your trends going into college football week 13. Now let's bring in our wonderful guest, Mr. Sean Higgs. Now I'm very excited to welcome back Mr. Sean Higgs from winningfreepicks.com and Midday Money. You can follow Sean on X at Mr. Sean Higgs. Sean, so much capping going on, my friend. Now we got college basketball, NBA, NHL, of course, college football and NFL ain't going away. How are things going in your life?
College hoops, I'm starting to turn the corner. It was like the first 2 weeks, it was so-so. Last week, 60%, 64%. I'll take it. 18-10 since last Wednesday. I started a little slow, 23-29, Kiev.
Yeah.
And, I like college hoops. I had a good year last year, college basketball. You dive right into it. But, if you don't start really good, I'm not going to just say, well, it's in my parameters. I'm going to use it. After losing, I don't want to do that. So I bet about 30 less games I did last year. But also, last year I was at 62%, not at 52.1%.
Your record was phenomenal last year. I see.
It was, and it started really good. Like right out of the gate, it was 65% right out the door. I think I went like 9-7 the first day, and then it was off to the races. But if you start 5-7, and then it's 3-4 or 0-2, and then it's like, all right, let's slow down. I'm not panicking, right? I mean, I got good numbers today, so I just with college basketball, and I really thought because after you sent the email like, hey, we'll talk about some college hoops, I was like, let me see. I thought I was getting killed in totals, right? I'm like,
losing
tracking. And I got you, Kev.
There you go.
And I was like, let me track these. And on like the first Friday, maybe first Friday, the lines that moved like 3.5 or more points, 4 points, they went like 12-4, even after the move. Like if you got a 150, but it went to 145, you were still cashing the under.
Nice.
And I was like, oh boy, I'm probably getting. And then I go look how I'm doing my totals. I'm 13-3, and I'm avoiding them like the plague. And yet I've somehow. It's just one of those things, Kev. You know how it is. It's you got to kind of roll with it a little bit to see how they're rolling. It's a new season.
Sure
Last
is.
season was great.
Here we are.
It's just one of those things. I know. And today, yesterday I had one game, and today I have like 5. So it's still early. It's one of those. I feel good about how I'm gotten the last week, but that's a week. What is that? That's fine. But we're long term kind of guys, Kiev, right? It's 1 week's got to turn into 2, 3. It's a month. It's winning. We're up after 55% after 6 weeks. We got to grinding them out.
Absolutely. Let's do it, man. That's just the nature of the beast, but I'll tell you this, we have a lot of weeks to fix that. College basketball is going to go on all the way through April, so I can't wait to dabble more in it. I'm in the black. I had a bad weekend of college basketball. I had a bunch of bad picks losing in a row, but I'm back in the black because I hit the last few, so let's keep that going. What's funny? The rankings come out, and everyone hubbubs about them. Some people care less. I'm kind of in the middle. I care about the betting more than anything, but at the same time, if there's a team getting screwed because of their whatever biases and stuff, I like to call it out. But here's the thing. You got these SEC teams all up there. You notice a team like Miami with 2 losses and then Utah and BYU with 1 loss, always stuck on the ass end of everything. And and then they say, and then you guys got the people that say, oh, they don't have ranked wins. It's like, yeah, because the SEC is only playing each other, and that's the only teams you're ranking. It's like you're ranking them. It's like, it's like, I see different situations where Miami beat Notre Dame. I see, Florida State, of course, first game of the season, but you got to count it. I mean, what kind of rules are you going to make up for yourself? So my worry, and this is why I ask you this, is like the Big 12 here, man. Are they really looking one bid here? Do they deserve more teams in? There's 3 teams that, have consideration right now in BYU, Utah, and definitely Texas Tech. But, my man, I worry about those teams.
It's, you brought up Miami, and they did beat Notre Dame in week 1 in a game that nearly crystal balled up and pissed away versus a guy in the first start. So, okay, I think, and I'm a Miami guy. Hi, I got Schnellenberger signed mini helmet behind me. I'm a Canes guy. You lost as a double-digit favorite not once but twice to 2 unranked teams. We're forgetting that. Are we forgetting that? Whereas, okay, they lost to Miami on the road, driving to score, right? Didn't they have an interception? Like Miami ended the game, they stopped them. And they lost a wild game to Texas A&M, who I think, talking about the SEC, that gets zero respect because everybody talks about Alabama and Georgia. No one talks about A&M, who could be the best team in the SEC, even though they did have a lackluster performance the other day there. They got down, 30-0, and they came back and won the game. But you know what? I've seen a lot of other teams lose in that fashion. So give them credit for coming back and D'ing up like they have all year and beating a team after spotting a 30-point lead. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's the team But you know what, though? This is the problem with the expanded playoffs, Kiev. And why are we shocked that the SEC's going to gripe that they should have 8 teams in? The Big Ten, if Penn State didn't fall apart, would be right up there whining, we need more picks, right? Oh, it's Ohio State, it's Penn State, it's Michigan, it's Oregon, it's whoever.
USC. The Michigan's not whining as much as the SEC, and the SEC hasn't even, done anything yet. What's funny is you look at a team like the SEC's good. Ole Miss, who's their best win? At Oklahoma, with a banged up John Mateer, where Texas whooped their ass. So if you're going to factor in a team without their quarterback like they did with Florida State and all that, it's just like, how are you going to give them full credit when literally your next best team that you won is Tulane? So, you can say the same shit about them, the SEC, and Utah. Well, look at Utah's wins. It's like, first of all, you're the one ranking the SEC high. If you had maybe Cincinnati ranked higher, that would be a ranked win.
Yep.
And Cincinnati's a solid team. The SEC always screws up in the playoffs a little bit. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. Even my power ratings have the SEC a little bit higher in general. But when it comes to the college football playoffs and the whole freaking spirit of it, limit it to 3 teams a conference, man. Because if you can't be the third best team in the conference from a record perspective, you should be in there anyway. And it's your same thing with Miami losing. Maybe they shouldn't even be there either. But here's the thing. I don't need to see the 4th or 5th best team in the SEC when I can see a team that busted their ass like Utah or BYU possibly deserving a bid.
So let's start with Miami. They're not even going to make their championship game. You have no right complaining. You couldn't beat team. Oh, we beat a team. You beat a team. Does that mean Florida State's in the freaking in the playoffs because they beat Alabama? First game of the year? Like, what are you talking about, Miami? You're not good enough to win to get to a forget about winning the SEC where you can be 7-2 or 6-2 and not get into the title game. Where are you? And let's be honest. They could lose one of the next 2 games. I'm not going to be shocked if Miami loses the Pitt next week or 2 weeks, not this Saturday, next week. Will you be shocked if they lose?
No,
absolutely not.
I will not be shocked, and that's why it's still a little bit early. But I will say that Notre Dame's best win is during a rainstorm at home against USC, who might get their ass kicked against Oregon this week. The numbers telling you that. So it's so you can say who did Notre Dame beat? Notre Dame didn't beat anyone.
Oh yes, but who'd Michigan beat? Nebraska.
Yeah, nobody really. But that's
nobody.
But that's also because these teams weren't really ranked. So here's your problem that I have. You go by these bad losses this year, right? Because that's what they're doing with Miami and Notre Dame. They're going by, well, Miami's loss is way worse than your losses. Well, yeah, Miami's win's better. You beat Notre Dame. The problem is you're not doing the same with the smaller division. Tulane got their ass kicked by UTSA. Who did James Madison lose to? Just one team, Louisville, in the beginning of the season. James Madison hasn't done nothing wrong. But you're changed your narrative. You're not going by losses because if you were like you were against the rest of them, then Tulane wouldn't be in it because they got blown out by Ole Miss and they got blown out by 22 points against a bad UTSA team. So what the hell are they doing there? It makes no sense. Don't get me wrong. No group of 5 deserves to be there this year. There's just one of their stupid rules. But, an undefeated one would. But at the same time, they keep changing their narratives just to fit whatever they want to do. And that's what bugs me a little bit about it.
You're 100% right on Madison. They should be in it. They should be there. I don't know why they're not. Yeah. And the losses. Like, well, you lose to a 20-something ranked SEC 7th place team. I took Arkansas this weekend. And we'll talk. I mean, I think I sent it to you for a game to play. Why do I feel that if Texas does win this game and somehow upsets A&M, they'll be like, well, they should get in the playoffs. They beat Texas A&M. How are they not in the playoffs? Look at this. We played the tough. We played at Ohio State. We lost a tough one, 14-7, because our quarterback couldn't complete a pass, and then we beat the number 2 team in the country. We should be in it. How are you going to put that team in there? And you know damn well, Kiev, they're going to be in there if they pull off that win.
Absolutely, they sure will. And that's a perfect segue to talk about buy low, sell high. You know, what about these teams kind of coming at the end here? There's some teams that have no chance of making a bowl game. There's some teams that are trying to do something, whether it be make a bowl game or even get into the playoff picture. Do you have anything for buy low, sell high this week?
Game wise, let's see. Who do I got here for buy low?
It doesn't even have to be a bet you're making this week, but when you
but that's where I kind of look for stuff like that. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the Arkansas game is a big play like that for me. I just think I'm not sold on Texas. I think the door's shut. Mm-hmm. And maybe Sark's in there hyping them up like, it don't mean nothing. We take care of these 2 games and we're in. We're in. Where Arkansas hasn't won nothing. They've been terrible. I mean, 0-6. But somehow they have the 5th-ranked offense in all of football. Like, and what's Texas? Texas has problem scoring. I'm not – you're going to give me 10 points? And I think they're when we get to the banger bets, I think they're plus 260 there on the money line. I like the Razorbacks there, so I'm definitely selling Texas.
Okay, I like it. I like the sell on Texas for sure. That's great. They ain't making nothing.
I did have an NFL game, an NFL team to sell, which it's not really fitting our bill here. But I was going to say the Bears. Now, I'm a little partially blinded because I do have an under ticket on these guys, and you've got some good wins where you caught your lucky break wins, right? You got them this year. You didn't get the Hail Mary against Washington. This time Washington handed you a fumble and you won the game because you kicked a field goal and won. You know, you've won out on some of these. But looking at their schedule, and someone messaged me, he's like, hey, I got this future, and it was the Bears to win the North and a couple other things that one of them already happened and paid like $20 for like 9,000 or something. Nice little hit. And I'm like, I'd sell that now because for me, the Bears, I think the Steelers are going to be a little better without Aaron Rodgers like this week. They have games at Philly, at Green Bay, at San Fran, Detroit come up, two versus Green Bay. And Green Bay struggled. I could very well see them winning maybe one more game the rest of the year over Cleveland. And even that, who knows? They're the Bears. They could pee that one away. I'm looking to find spots to get on them point wise. Again, I'm selling them from the standpoint of I don't think they're as good as what they've been. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. Bears are a terrible favorite, and they're a decent dog, in my opinion. I think that the Bears they're just doing everything for smoke and mirrors, and their Pythagorean win total is way lower than the record is. You know, I mean, they're getting outscored by 4 or 5 points a game on average, right? And that doesn't mean I won't take them as a 4 or 5, 6 point underdog against Green Bay or something. That's not. Yeah. I'm saying that the hype on them is that they're. Well, seeing them -3 against the Steelers was a little much, I thought. Now, the question is Mason Rudolph as good as Aaron Rodgers coming in off the bench? I think he's a solid backup. I don't know. I guess that's another discussion.
I think it's addition by subtraction. I think that guy sucks the life out of a team.
Aaron Rodgers does.
He does.
He does, but I don't know, somehow they're still winning some games. They got by last week and blew out Cincinnati. I think that was an all-out defensive effort. I hate to say it, I don't like the Steelers either personally, and I think I kind of sell high on both. Now, I don't know. It's their defensive line versus the Bears' offensive line, but that's another.
The Bears laying 3. Yeah, Bears laying 3 is just not something I'm definitely not something I'm interested in. Absolutely not.
I agree with selling that ticket too. They ain't winning the division, but they can make the playoffs. South Florida is who I'm selling high on because they're out now. They're out of the American Athletic Standing. I think Alex Golish possibly thinking about interviewing right now. You know, he's probably sniffing around a little bit, and he's probably interned for a Power 5 job somewhere. There's a lot of jobs opening, so that's where his mind is, because they now can't get to the American Athletic Conference championship game. They screwed up last week, got blown out by Navy, and they should have beat Navy. They just puked all over themselves, right? So it was.
And how is it's Navy gets no love because they have the North Texas, right? They got the 2 losses,
right.
Wait till they knock off Tulane. Is Madison going to sneak in? Are we going to get Madison, or are we going to get somebody out of Mountain West?
It's going to be, well, first of all, it can't be the Mountain West now. I think that San Diego State's fun, but they're not. They just have nothing to stand on. At least James Madison's winning by a ton of margin. San Diego State has two losses too, and they're going to take North Texas though, or possibly Tulane, according to these stupid rankings, and that's what kind of pisses me off a little bit.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Let's get to the games, though. We have some big ones to talk about, and then a little hodgepodge. Let's start with one that you picked, Rutgers versus Ohio State. And the really interesting game you picked because, Ohio State's in a situation where they got something big on deck. They have a massive favorite of a 31.5 with a total of 55.5. Man, love the fact that you picked these Ohio State and Michigan this week. What do you think about this one first?
Well, they kind of play into each other, right? Because Ohio State's got Michigan next after this, so they got that whole thing going on. Ohio State hasn't beat Michigan in 4 years?
Yeah, it's been a while,
right? And now you're laying 31.5 versus a team that Rutgers isn't a good team. They've got on the road to giving up 30 points to Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota. They give up points. That's fine, but they're still alive for like a little bowl action. And is the Penn State game at home a little easier to win? For sure. But I cannot see them just laying over here and not doing anything. And Ohio State at home has been fabulous, right? I mean, 10 points to UCLA, 14 to Penn State, 3 to Minnesota, 9 to Ohio, 70-0. They crushed Grambling. They beat North Texas, right, 47. So the defense is going to come regardless, right? As we have a go through the motion, let's be healthy, and if anybody's banged up, we don't need to play today. I like the points with Rutgers. 31, you're giving me 4+ scores out of the gate for a team that, okay, I mean, if they win 34-0 and that's how I go down, so be it. You're telling me Rutgers can't put 10 points on the board in this one? No, I don't see it. I think Rutgers gets at least 10, maybe 13, 14 points. That's all I need, because I don't see Ohio State dropping 40-something to cover a 31. I don't.
Yeah, I agree with you. First of all, great points. The look ahead's massive. They need to stay healthy to beat Michigan. That's where the team's minds are on Michigan. Let's not forget that Greg Schiano spent time in Ohio State and worked there, and was a coordinator there, and are they going to
really truck him?
Yeah, they're not going to embarrass him. They're not going to embarrass him. It's a great play. I love Ohio Rutgers here, and
that's what you would need. You would need a 48-0. Again, you're telling me Rutgers can't score 10 here? I need 10 points.
They're going to be playing against backups in the fourth quarter. They're going to be playing against backups in the fourth quarter. It's a big opportunity for Rutgers. No opportunity for Ohio State. Ohio State got to just run the ball in the second half, get out of there, try to get out of there as healthy as possible. Jeremiah Smith probably shouldn't even play that much. There's just too much. Yep. There's too much to lose for Ohio State to try to blow out teams. And the coach knows that they're not going to blow out Schiano.
You don't need that now. They don't. You're what, number 2 in the polls? You don't need.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Short of you losing here, you're not going to get penalized.
They're the number 1 in the playoffs team. Then that's not going to change until at least the Indiana game. Let's go to Missouri State versus Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State minus 6.5 total, 57.5. So this is one I picked. And I'm going back to fade trading here against Kennesaw State. I was on Kennesaw State earlier this year. I thought they were undervalued. Now I think they're a little overvalued here. Don't get me wrong. They've been very feisty. It's freaking Conference USA, though, man. You shouldn't be laying a lot of points in Conference USA. And seriously, over 6 to Missouri State. Missouri State, man, they've been pretty frisky this year, really. Since losing.
They're 5-1 against the same competition.
Exactly.
That Kennesaw played. They got the same conference record.
Since losing to SMU, they've won 6 of their last 7. Wins against Liberty, wins against FIU. I mean, they're a pretty good team. The Owls, similar run, but seriously, 6.5 points. They just got a reality check last week against the Jaguars, too. If you want to go back farther, the Owls probably should not have beaten UTEP. That was a very one-sided officiated game. I was on the Owls and got lucky. That was one I have to chalk myself up to getting a bad beat on the other side. I actually won that one. A good treat, I guess you'd call it. UTEP actually won the box score, like I said. The Bears, solid passing offense, 64th in dropback EPA. That's where they find success against the Owls, ranking 105th in opponent pass EPA and success rate. I'm taking the closer. I'm taking the dog. Missouri State plus 2.5.
I like it.
All right, good.
I like it.
Good. Let's jump on that one. Next game. Might as well go right to Michigan then, because that's your next one. Maryland versus Michigan. Funny, there's a few 14s out there. I'm wondering where this line completely goes. I don't think it's going to get past 14. I think there's too many people that think like you and I. But this is another situation where Michigan has to get ready for the big game. Maryland looking like shit all year, but this is just it's funny. They look great in the beginning of the year, and they do this all the time, and then they just can't win in November, December. But now I just feel like the kids kind of rally here, know that this is a snake-bitten Michigan team that's not going to bring their injured guys back until the Ohio State game. I think those guys are still going to be on the shelf. Man, were they puking all over themselves last week too, and barely got through Northwestern. I'm glad they won that game. That makes me want to fade them again. Maryland is my opinion, but what you picked the game. I'm stealing your thunder. I'm sorry.
No, that's right. No, I was going to flip back to your Missouri State. I like 2.5 and 6.5 point dogs. I just think the thinking is, I just got to win by field goal. I got to win by 7, and people just kind of flock to that. Where I look at it as 7.5 and 3.5. I want the faves. That half point they're trying to lure me in, just like this half point they're trying to lure you out. So I really like that Missouri State one.
Thank
a lot.
You. Thank you.
Let's hit
that one. All right, baby.
A lot.
All right.
Yeah. So I doubt we'll see 14.5 because the average person doesn't buy those bets, right, Kev? That's the sharp and the pro money will always take that extra hook because they're playing a long game with big bankrolls and splits are part of the ball game and middles and stuff like that, so they don't care about that. But we don't see those now, and I think it's all about the props for the sports books. So they're not going to give the pro sharp guys any edge there. 6 straight losses for the Terps. Where is their motivation in this one here? I know there's no way they're getting a bowl unless they win this game, which I can't see happening. I'm not a huge Michigan fan. I don't think they're a great team. We were talking before about them. Who have they beaten this year? Not anybody really worthwhile. I like the under in this game. Okay. And again, same. And then not even as just, you got a better team on deck, your rivals on deck. Just look at the scores. Maryland hasn't done anything all year offensively. They've gone under 7-10 on the season. They don't score much. And if you take away the 2 tomato cans that the non-conference schedule for Michigan, you're looking at unders at 5 out of the 8. They've gone under the total. Michigan still plays defense, and they got a questionable offense.
Yeah.
This quarterback's not all that great.
All right.
And I honestly, at 14, I'm not going to be shocked if this goes to 13.5 because I think people will be like, how is Michigan scoring here? Because this is a spot, not really Ohio State home, but this is a spot you see Michigan in some kind of dogfight, 13-10, like the third quarter. Like, what's going on here? Then all of a sudden, if they get upset, they got 3 losses, they lose to Ohio State, they got 4 losses, and are out the door to playoffs. Right?
Right.
If I'm taking a side here, I'm definitely 100% on the Terps. But
and the under's starting to go down too.
The unders for sure. Because Michigan, offensively, these guys are. How the hell can't you? You're Michigan. Ohio State, Oregon put up like 40 pieces every week. You guys are struggling.
They can't move the ball against a bad USC defense. They can't move the ball against Oklahoma.
It's terrible. It's a joke.
Yeah, Oklahoma's a little more understandable, but Jesus, UFC.
All this money for no money. You can't get any offensive players on this thing? And I think this coach is not long either for staying in town here, this guy.
No, I'll be on Ohio State next week too. Just to let you know, that's line's coming out 11.5. I haven't bet it yet, but I'm looking at it.
I would lay that up to 14.
Oh, it's 13.5 now. Hear me mouthing off. It's 13.5 now. Of course, someone hit that. Yeah, I mean, I'd still lay it. I'd still be on Ohio State here.
Listen, anything if I get over 14 or less, I'll still go because they're Michigan does not have the horses to compete here to play that game.
Let's go to Washington versus UCLA. UCLA plus 10.5, total 52. This is kind of a little bit of an underrated game. It's going to be a fun game, though. It's a night game. It's a late game. So you'll be hanging out with your cocktail, watching the end of it. This is a situation where, I do think Nico Iamaleava plays. I think he's going to play. Why would he not play? He's under contract almost. He got paid $2 million. I think he's going to play. He sat out against Ohio State because he knew that he had no shot in that game, and it would probably, if anything, hurt his draft stock. I think that was correct of him with his bullshit injury. And the team let him do it, and that they're fine. Just say show up next week, and I think that's what's going to happen. And I like the over. These are some pretty freaking bad defenses, man. Really bad defenses. Washington ranks 66 in defensive success rate, 44th in EPA. The only time they look good is when they're playing the freaking Badgers and teams like that. But it was also during a freaking rainstorm, man. It was like a monsoon in Wisconsin when that happened, and they lost the game. Gave up 13 to one of the worst offenses in Big Ten history, my Badgers. The Bruins are 134th in defensive success rate, dude. How many teams are there? Is it 136?
But how much is that early year they were terrible?
Oh, they were absolutely terrible, and some of that is early year. But if you look at recency, Ohio State stopped playing in the third quarter and still accidentally kind of scored against them. It's just how bad this UCLA team is. It's hard to see on paper because let's look at Nebraska scored 28 against them. This is a Nebraska team that had no quarterback. They go to UCLA, and they still scored 28 freaking points, man. This is bad. This is just very, very bad.
They had one games. I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, finish your thing. I'll tell you my thought on it.
Well, I'm still looking the over. Side whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I probably take the dog. I'm a dog better more than anything, but I'm taking the over 52. And I think it's way too low for these two teams because I know that Washington can put up 30, 40 points as long as the weather is okay.
They can their coach. Then they ran off, 3 wins in a row? And they got trucked by Indiana, which, am I going to really be upset Indiana beating them 56-6? I mean, Indiana beat Illinois when they were the 9th-ranked team 56-6. So I don't care about that game. They had the bye week and then Nebraska. And now I had UCLA. I'm like, what, no quarterback for Nebraska? New coach, new play. They look like they were playing a little heart, being good. They end up losing that one. Ohio State again. Those two games, to me, those I don't mind because they're two teams that are elite. I don't think Washington's an elite squad. Although hats off to them for sure because I had Rutgers against them. They played Maryland, and I was like, boy, if that was a noon game, I would have been all over Maryland. And maybe it's a noon game. They don't come back and beat Maryland in that game. But after that, I figured, you know what? You beat Washington State. You beat Ohio State, right? Or you played Ohio State tough, I should say. Rally to beat Maryland. I thought for sure Rutgers was going to grab them at home. Nope. They dropped the 38 spot on them. As you mentioned, Illinois 42-piece on those guys. They can score. But on the road, those numbers are not as great on the road. Mm-hmm. Again, it's Michigan and Wisconsin, but I don't know. I'd rather be on the dog than the total in this one.
All right, fair enough.
I think if you're on the over, you got to get something out of UCLA in this one.
Yeah, I think you will because I'm just not a believer in Washington's defense. They did lose their best linebacker earlier this season, and Nico is, he should be rejuvenated. He's the kind of player that can get it done himself a little bit. Now, is Washington going to stop that? I guess we'll see. Okay, little disagreement's good, very good. I was on Washington at Michigan, and I got burned on that, and Michigan scored pretty easily against them. Yeah, I think that Michigan's offense can't be that much better than UCLA's. I like the over. I think it's more like 35-21 type deal. So,
I mean, think about what you just said. Michigan, I mean, they scored 24 points. And it was 14-7 going into the fourth quarter. 10 minutes ago in the game, it was 14-7. Real barn burner with that Michigan offense. This is why you got to like Ohio State next week. Because Michigan that has no offense.
I really like Ohio State next week for sure. Let's move on to the next game. You like this. You kind of hinted. Arkansas versus Texas. Texas. Yeah. What kind of effort we getting from Texas? They're 8.5-point favorites at home. This is an overrated system from this last year. Total is 57.5. I don't even know what's going on in the minds of these kids.
I mean, and it's come down. I have Arkansas plus 10.5 at one spot and 10 at another. I mean, why wouldn't you be buying on Arkansas? What has Texas done to show you that they're going to cover 10 points? And even if it's 8, you better be up by 17 if you think they're going to cover this game. Arkansas is like a top 10 offense. It's ridiculous. Yes, they're 0-6 and they can't stop anybody. But are really in – I saw one game out of the Texas offense this year, and that was a crazy game versus Mississippi State. Okay, Vanderbilt game, you showed up. Are you telling me it took 10 weeks for Arch Manning to get a hold of the offense? No way.
Starch Manning.
35-10, you just got your doors blown off. You can say whatever you want. We're going to make the playoffs. We just got to take care of business and win. This is a lost season. He had a Heisman hopeful. He lost it in week 1. He lost it in the first half of a game. His Heisman went right out the window the way he looks. This team is not that good, and I'm not shocked at an Arkansas outright win. At the +9, it was plus 260. 260 Arkansas at the time. So maybe it's on the 240 mark here, 250. No thank you to Texas. And not only, you better be out there praying that Texas loses, because somehow they win this and pull out an upset next week. You're going to have 9 teams from the SEC in here. Really?
Please no. No.
Let's be honest. You're going to have A&M, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma's getting in.
Vandy.
Unless somehow they lose it. You know what I mean?
Vandy hanging out. Dude.
Ole Miss.
Tennessee.
Although, let me tell you something. If Ole Miss, if they get rid of their coach and they come in with a loss, they better not get in there. I don't care that they have they only got 2 losses, they should get in. You got no coach.
Well,
no.
Here's some good news. Tennessee is going to lose to Florida, and that's the game I picked. Tennessee versus Florida. Florida plus 4.5, total 57.5. Sometimes the numbers don't matter quite as much in college football, right? You know, this rivalry has been big for years. The Vols go to Florida and they lose this game. Do you know when the last time the Vols have won in Florida, Sean? Take a guess.
T. Martin was quarterback? I don't even know.
Well, 2003, 22 years ago.
Really?
They haven't won a game in Florida since 2003, bro. I was still freaking running around college towns back then. Dude, look, man.
2003, bro.
2003 was the last time. Dude, that's so long ago. I mean, and now you're laying 4.5 on the road in the swamp? Dude, even the ATS history, Florida covered 6 out of the last 7. The only ones they don't cover is when they're not there. Yeah, dude. I mean, it's not like this Vols team's a world beater. Now, even when you want to talk stats, man, Vols 109th in defensive success rate, 65th in defensive EPA. They bleed points. They are not a good favorite, man. Their offense is good, but
I just looked that up. Week 3 in Gainesville, 24-10 win for you guys. Casey Clausen, the quarterback.
Casey Clausen, my man. That's how far we're going back here.
There you go.
You'll look at Tennessee on the road, Mississippi State, Alabama. It's just bad performances this year on the road. They're really fortunate to get up to 7 at Mississippi State, too. They still didn't cover. Take the Gators, baby. Take them on the money line, too. 4.5 is what I'm giving. I'm taking a little money line, too.
I I'll agree with you on that one. I was down on the Gators this year. I had under their 7.5 wins and easily cash in by September with the way they started or whatever it did. But I like this spot, absolutely. And this is where you need some wackiness. You need some upsets to level the playing field here for a Big 12 team to get in there, as well as whoever wins it, like the number 2 team to get in. You need these guys to cannibalize themselves and get some freaking losses. You can't have 3 and lost teams in here. It's not right. It's 100% wrong. It's wrong. It just is.
Agreed. Ooh, Joe Burrow practicing 100%. Just got that across the airwaves.
Why? Why would you come back, Joe Burrow? Sit the hell out so they can draft an offensive lineman so you're not getting crushed every year.
It's getting hit right now. Bengals plus 8.5. That's going down. I don't like the Bengals either way. This defense is so bad and that offensive line is so bad. I almost kind of want this to go past the 7 now. I don't even want to play for a middle in this game, Yeah. Gross. Why would you come back without Jamar Chase too? Spitting on people and all that. I'd wait another week at least, but Jesus, man, coming back to this team, I wouldn't do it. You're risking your future over that, an ACL, something. You're just getting smashed back there. The team obviously didn't care about keeping you healthy. All right, well, that's another rant for another day.
Let's go. I'm all for that rant because I thought they should have drafted Perry Sewell instead of
Jamar
Chase for him, so they could have a lineman. You can't throw when you're on your back or when you're out half the time. Exactly. As good as the guy is, he's never in.
There's just a terribly done job by their GM. The defense can't even play a lick. I maybe full practices, but they still keep them out. I don't know. It doesn't mean he's starting.
I'm seeing there's still a +9 out here on a couple joints.
Yeah. I think it's getting hit a little bit by people that just think he's going to play. I'm not sure he's going to play.
Circa's got 7.5.
Anything on Florida State at NC State? NC State +4.5 for Friday. I'm just going to hodgepodge now.
I'm leaning a little dog there. I'm leaning a little dog there. Yeah, you know what I want to talk about? If you want to take a little shot on a wacky cash money dog, Western Kentucky.
Yeah, Western Kentucky's due.
+1,200 versus LSU. Wow, who the hell is LSU to be laying 20 points? Where are they going? No coach. Western Kentucky's a decent little squad.
They're thinking.
Can Western Kentucky get a little bit of love for themselves?
That's not a bad find right there.
They're right behind our Jacksonville State and Kennesaw here, 6-1.
My numbers don't agree, but Jesus, man, what's LSU got left? Why would they care about blowing anyone away? Their hopes are done.
That's what I'm saying. 23. They're gonna go. The dog is. It's a live dog, but I guess it's not a live dog. But 23 points. Where is LSU? What do they care?
No, I agree. Weird.
Wow, let's get 7 wins and go to the 65 Tire Bowl or whatever hell they're going to do.
What about
right?
Yeah. Who cares about? They never care. Most of these guys are going to sit out. They don't give a shit. They're thinking about their next opportunity to try to impress the NFL. Missouri, Oklahoma.
There's another one I got. I wrote this down for our beer bet bangers. Here we go. Moneyline these puppies.
Oh, okay. Missouri Prebula might play, is what I've heard. I don't know if it's true.
But not only that, where are you going after you just beat Alabama? You got nowhere to go but down. If they had played Alabama right after Tennessee, I'd probably be on Bama that game. But they did have a break in between. But that is, you lost to Ole Miss, you beat Tennessee, beat Alabama, now you got to play Mizzou. Like, come on. This is a Mizzou spot all day long. And I like the Sooner defense. I think the Sooner team is probably better than last year's Sooner team.
What's funny?
This is a bad spot, though.
Yeah, Prebula's not going to play, but he is limited in trying to practice. Yeah, it's a terrible spot for Oklahoma. After that big win, it was kind of a misleading box score. They kind of gave it their all, right? And Missouri still has a running game here, and God, I'm thinking about Missouri here. Jeez, wow.
Yeah.
Even with the backup, Zollers now has a little time behind his little stint this year, right? He's played. He's been there now a little bit, right?
Well, this is like a little mini Super Bowl for these guys. Come on, let's go knock out this team.
Yeah, I'll write that down. I mean, my numbers don't agree, but numbers don't mean as much right now in these situations.
Yeah, but the numbers sometimes, this time of year, your numbers are one thing, but where's the state of a team?
Right, where's their mindset?
They're pumped up, and Mater hasn't looked all that great since coming back. He's definitely not 100% with that hand.
Yeah, Missouri's in their Super Bowl spot. They can upset another team because they're not making it, so they're going to make it so someone else doesn't make it. I love that angle. Boy, Miami sucks on the road usually, but maybe this is one they won't suck on the road at Virginia Tech. I mean, laying 17.5 is a lot. Probably staying away.
That's a big. Listen, if they're so pissed off and they want to complain, win this game 56-10. Let's see how good you are. You want to give people something to talk about, go in there and destroy a team on the road. Don't let them hang around to win 44-26 and we wanted to. No, that's show some domination. You want to think that, I know there's not style points, but you want to get back in good graces of, they'll be like, well, look at this. They're playing good ball right now. How are they coming into the playoffs? How do we sit them out, but we want to put Oklahoma? Oklahoma just lost to Missouri. Come on. That'll be the mindset of these teams. That's what you're going to talk about the last game, the last 2 weeks, how they're playing down the stretch.
SMU's been playing good down the stretch. Another one-loss ACC team, and they're laying 2.5 at home to a Louisville team that probably has nothing better to do than upset someone now that they have their 3 losses. Yeah. They should, it's funny that Clemson game they should have won, but the field goal went to hell. But what is Clemson? I think SMU's better than them. Are they good enough to cover 2.5 and a little pressure?
They're home, right?
My number. SMU's at home. They're at home. SMU's at home. I mean, to be honest with you, I have them equal in power ratings, but maybe I'm a little wrong on that. I don't know. I like Jeff Brom a bit. I think he's a pretty good coach, but there's whispers he might be moving away too, to the NFL or something. I'm gonna write down SMU as a maybe.
Louisville's lost 3 games at home this year. How terrible is that?
That's pretty bad.
Every other team just crushes at home. Miami's 7-1 at home, 1-1 on the road. Unbelievable. 8 games at home, and you can't even take care of business at home, Miami.
It makes no sense why Louisville's a better road team, and that worries me a little because they went to Pitt and won easily. They went to Miami and won. They lose to Virginia at home. They lose to freaking Cal at home and Clemson at home. Just weird. It's probably not big enough spread for me to take it. But
that's baseball, Susan. That's what we got here.
It is like baseball, right? I mean, shouldn't be with like only 12 games, but yeah, it is. What else? A lot of people are on Minnesota plus 3.5 this week, but I mean, I don't know if I trust Minnesota. They've been awful on the road too, and Northwestern's been, serviceable. I don't know. There's probably
I got nothing on that. That guy didn't even come up on my window.
You know what? I'll give you a play. I'm playing Kansas plus 4.5 on the road at Iowa State. I think Iowa State is trash, man. And they did get that win against TCU, but I found out TCU is more trash. I'll
do Kansas with you.
Yeah, Iowa State's terrible, man. They're bad, and I just think that losing 7 starters on your defense is pretty significant. And what's their quarterback's name again? Brock, whatever. He's not like a NFL coming quarterback like Brock Purdy. That's what I was trying to say. Brock Purdy, the old guy, the new guy, or not new guy, Rocco Becht, is not going to be lighting it up. He's only at 59% passing, 12 TDs, 9 interceptions. He's terrible. I'm on Kansas. I'll make that official too, plus 4.5.
But hey, listen, Iowa State, they got back on track with a big win over TCU there. Like, again, TCU just win a game to get to the Big 12 championship game. You can't even do it. Can't even do it.
Plus, that's their 6th win. They made the bowl game. Kansas is kind of in the position now where they need one more win. Yeah, this is gonna be a closer game than 3.5 or 4.5. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I like Kansas.
I mean, everybody's gonna be on Iowa State here anyway.
Absolutely. What are we missing here? I mean, unfortunately, the SEC decided to take this week off and play a bunch of tomato cans like Georgia, Charlotte, and that's what they do every year. But
do you take Charlotte in 40 points?
No, Charlotte can. They're 4th string. They can bring in guys off the stands to beat Charlotte, bro. Guys.
I mean, it would be nice. Again, can we get Kentucky to upset Vanderbilt? So you get a couple upsets here, and then it'll make things nice.
Yeah, I don't know about Kentucky Vandy. I think it's a solid line between the 7 and 10. What I will say is this Oregon USC game is interesting. It was 7.5 right when it opens, 9.5 now. It's kind of marching up a little bit. I think you're stupid if you're going to bet it now because it's just going to be like the Notre Dame game where Notre Dame went to 11 points, right? And guess what happened? It middled. If you like Oregon, bet them now. If you like USC, wait to the very end. I mean, I understand that USC's got the offense to backdoor things, but I think that Oregon's defense has been a little bit underrated.
Their defense is pretty damn good. 13, 16, 7, 10 points allowed. I mean,
yeah.
They gave a 24 to Penn State, but that was with a real quarterback. They had a good quarterback at the time. 7, 14, 3. I mean, the Indiana game is the only time they got really picked off there defensively. 30-20. I mean, but also that game and the Penn State game were against 2 kind of top 25 teams. You saw the way they were played. Why? I'm with you. I think you hold off on USC. Try to get that 10. They'll be in the window there.
I think I'm just gonna take a middle on it. I think I'm just gonna lay the 9.5 and then grab a 10.5 and just get juiced out if it doesn't land on 10. I think 10's a really nice round number for this game.
Listen, USC's a team. They get a lot of crap. That Illinois game was a crazy game. They lost late, right? Mm-hmm. The Notre Dame game, they were there in that game. They could easily be undefeated. And you're going to give me 10 points?
Yeah. Put that down in my possibilities here.
Yeah, I mean, I have what? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 9 games, but just rolling with here. I'm going to add a couple more.
That's not how it is. We always talk each other into good stuff, but a lot of times there's our right sides. We put a lot of time into this, so hopefully we all cash. I stared at TCU Houston. I just can't get the junk out of my head of Houston losing to West Virginia when I was on them by double.
I pull Houston. My son, he graduated last year, and a bunch of guys from his team are got recruited over there. Some scholarships on that team, so I'm definitely going to be a Cougar fan for the next few years with a bunch of kids that were at my house, have a lunch. So pull for those guys. Hopefully they do it. Good for them.
What about Georgia?
It's fun. It's on the side note, when they got their little football for college football, and his teammates are literally on Houston. There's another kid, the kicker plays for I think Colorado State. My nephew's actually on Wake Forest. It's fun going and see you're really. It's look at this. They got a guy, a family member. It's fun.
That is fun, man. It's the best. I mean, that's what it's all about right there. Wisconsin against Illinois. Wisconsin plus 7.5. Wisconsin's defense has been playing great, but man, I'll tell you this: if they ever have to play catch up, it's just always ugly. I lean Wisconsin, but probably not getting too involved here.
Yeah, this one is
under.
Wisconsin
under, I guess 40.5. Wisconsin is one of the best unders teams in the land. I could see this being 35.
I mean, is that because teams just score on let's just run it because it's just
yeah.
I mean, look at the scores of these Wisconsin games.
Yeah, they're ridiculous. They're embarrassing. But Bielema loves to beat his old team. Bielema loves to beat Wisconsin, and there's not.
I get it. And they listen. They should. You're 7.5 point favorite again. I like 7.5s.
Yeah.
7 points, 7 points, 0, 0, 10, 10, 14. They can't score against any. How the hell did they beat Washington 13-10? Was it a blizzard? Did I miss a?
It was a hurricane going on in Madison. It was a hurricane, a cold hurricane, a freezing hurricane going on.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, Even that game, 13-10. They cannot score. You can't win if you can't score, people.
Well, and that's the thing. If the weather's decent, which it looks to be decent so far, and this is the time of the year you got to check the weather. It's you're playing against an offense that can score and you can't. And it's not a pretty offense. It's Illinois, but it's also the Badgers, and they're terrible this year. And I wish that we can get rid of that coach, but he's going to last until next year. He's going to start the season.
24-10, you're covering. 24-10's a cover. 17-7's a cover.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
12% chance of rain, only 5 mile per hour winds, 44 degrees. It's a fall day. They're used to that now. Yeah, it's
Illinois. Illinois is used to the weather. It ain't like this is like a USC coming to town in December. This is Illinois.
Yeah,
they're used to playing here. They're a Big Ten brethren. They've been here forever. They'll be all right in the cold.
Do you think Cincy upsets BYU? Since he's plus 2.5, everyone keeps saying BYU's overrated, which they kind of are.
I had Cincy last week for the nuts. I'm like, this is a spot. You're off a bye week. You lost. You come here, win this game, and that's your. I can't back him. I can't because I'm a guy. Whether it's NFL or college football, you come out of that bye week, and whatever happened the week before, you're either feeling good, we're going to keep it going, we're getting better, or holy cow, what the hell happened? Let's get focused. We're ready to play. You had a chance at the Big Ten championship. You pissed it away at home. I can't get involved. And I don't like BYU. I had to tech over them the other day. I had Iowa when they played over there.
It's a smelly.
I can't.
It's a smelly line. It's begging you to take Cincy in a way. Yet, I don't know. My numbers say the line's pretty damn close too. We kind of covered most of the main ones. There's one more that I wanted to ask you about. And Georgia Tech, they're minus 2.5 to Pitt. Now I've known Georgia Tech has been overrated the whole year, but now is what's Pitt's mindset after getting blown out by Notre Dame and showed up. But then Narduzzi said the game didn't matter anyway, so I don't know.
Exactly, that's why you take Pitt here, right? I mean, that's why it's a Pitt play.
Yeah, I think Pitt,
because the coach was over saying, I don't care about this game. I'm worried about the next game.
I'll wait for a 3 again and probably be on Pitt. I'll put that under my.
I'll tell you what, it'll be Pitt this week and Pitt next week against Miami.
Yep, for sure. Well, we got a lot going on, man. Beer bet banger time. Who's going to give us some plus money for the weekend, my friend? What's going to happen there?
Well, I mentioned before, give me some Arkansas here. About the plus 240, 250 range versus Texas.
270.
I did write down Missouri at plus 245.
Okay.
And Western Kentucky at plus 1,200, maybe 1,100. Shop around for that against LSU. That one to me, I might just play money line on that game, believe it or not. Like I really think LSU could just lose that game 24-23. Like not care about it. It's a weird one for sure, but sign me up.
Without a doubt. I'm going to.
There's a bunch. I'm just talking to you. Like I could maybe make a play on USC here.
There's a lot of fun.
Just digging into them a little bit.
It's a week where you're going to see some massive dog win this week, or at least like a over 7.
They're getting 10. They should have beat Notre Dame and they should have beat Illinois. They're an undefeated team getting 10 points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To a rival that they've had for 20 years. Yeah, they're not that bad. I don't think Oregon's that good. Add that to the litter, too. There you go. The fourth one. Hey, got a golden sombrero, folks. Enjoy it.
I'm going to go with a big one. Western Kentucky to win outright.
There you go.
How about it? It's a beer bet. Why not? We don't just do beer bets for low. We got to find a fun one. Western Kentucky to beat LSU this week. LSU has nothing to play for. They have no coach. You already did the handicap perfectly, Sean. Why not go with Western Kentucky today? And what is it? It's plus 1,100, and you probably FanDuel a little better. Let's do it. Plus 1,200. Western Kentucky beer bet banger. I don't care if I lose this one, but if we can get that plus 1,100, man, we'll buy some beer. Speaking,
get some Johnny Brewer plus 1,100. Get the beer. The Johnny Walker out, blue label.
Bust out the Johnny Walker. That's what Mr. Sean Higgs likes. And what else we like? Mr. Sean Higgs coming on this show, giving us his great insight and information. Sean, could you tell our listeners where they can get your wonderful information in place?
Yeah, head on over. Well, on the X, I'm at Mr. Sean Higgs there. It's also, a little YouTube Sean Higgs there. I do my little midday money 7 days a week. Little free pick action there, along with my Look Headline show. I do that where I kind of jump ahead of probably gonna do one tonight. I do it Sundays, usually halftime, but I've been pushing it back since these games are so pathetic. I don't want to upset people because they're smashing TVs watching games that are 6-3. So I've been pushing it back a little bit, and where we look at the next week's lines. But the last 2 weeks I've been doing a Wednesday night one for the week. Now it'll be week 13, and I tell you, kind of it's a little me reading the tea leaves. That's why I do it ahead of time. I sometimes talk about it in the midday show, but the look at lines is I'm going to say who I got this weekend and why I like the next week's game at this line, because I think X is going to happen and turn into Y, which means the line's going to move to Z. So,
well, there you go. That's great information. Make sure you guys check out Mr. Sean Higgs. Thanks, and best of luck to your plays this weekend, Sean.
Thanks for having me, Kev.
Now it is time for
The Sharp Side of the Force.
Sharp Side of the Force is brought to you by The Season. For the largest sports contest in all the land, please visit www.thesen.com/OB. Terms, conditions, location apply. All right. College football week 13 sharp money movement as of Wednesday, 11/19. The five most prominent sharp sides and totals: Miami minus 15.5 to minus 17.5 at Virginia Tech. 57% of the tickets and 81% of the money. Arizona minus 4.5 to minus 7, hosting Baylor. 57% of the tickets and 68% of the money. Old Dominion minus 9.5 to minus 12.5 at Georgia Southern. 50% of the tickets and 69% of the money. Kennesaw State minus 4 to minus 6.5, hosting Missouri State. 55% of the tickets and 75% of the money. Arkansas plus 10.5 to plus 8.5 at Texas. 61% of the tickets and 97% of the money. Sharp totals: Rutgers versus Ohio State under 56.5 to 54.5. 76% of the tickets and 92% of the money. Louisville versus SMU over 50.5 to 53.5. 40% of the tickets and 69% of the money. Kansas State versus Utah under 54.5 to 51.5. 93% of the tickets, 93% of the money. Michigan State versus Iowa under 43.5 to 42. 51% of tickets and 67% of the money. In Arkansas versus Texas over 55.5 to 57.5. 21% of tickets and 58% of the money. All right, to recap, my friends, my official plays: Washington versus UCLA over 52. Missouri State plus 6.5. Florida plus 4.5, who always seems to beat Tennessee. Let's see if they can keep that going. Also, we're adding Kansas plus 4.5 to that as well. My friends, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you have any questions for us, feel free to tweet us at The Oddsbreakers. Email us, info@theoddsbreakers.com. Have a great rest of your weekend. Go get some winners.